Hello lovely people, how are you all today? I'm coming to you at the end of month number 13, which a year and a month ago I didn't think I would be doing. And last month, at the end of last month, my month 12, I did kind of think about or wonder about whether I should sort of bother with this strand anymore, because I've kind of, over that last year, I've kind of thought on different things from time to time, but it's mostly been about the end of each month, having a reflection about how it's going, how I'm managing, is it working, etc, etc. So when I got to the end of month 12, it felt like, well, that's what I set out to do, that's what I've done, that's kind of the end of the story now. Just reaching for my water. So why would I do it anymore? But actually, I decided I would carry on doing this little monthly reflection, at least for now, because I think, certainly by the way things are going so far this month, I think it's quite easy to do something for a year if you set your mind to it, or at least if you set your mind to a specific goal, it's quite easy to achieve it, but then what's beyond? So for instance, if you set yourself a goal to run a marathon, good on you by the way, and well done to all my friends who completed the London Marathon recently and raised money for some fantastic charities, yay! But after that marathon's complete, then what do? Do you carry on running? Do you carry on going for your little 5k trot every morning? Without a goal, what do you know? Does it all fizzle out? Do you go back to being a couch potato? And it kind of felt like that for me, transitioning from that. I've done a year, and it's nice and kind of pithy as well. A year without a wage, can it be done? Yes, it can. Woo! But it was quite evident coming into 2018, so from sort of January onwards, that I kind of really did want to carry on, because I felt like I'd only just started to scratch the surface, as it were. And my inkling at the end of last month and going into this month was that actually doing this for a second year, it would probably in some ways be harder. It would certainly be different to last year, because every month that ticked over last year felt like such a great achievement that really motivated me to keep going. Whereas, what's the motivation now? And I'll be honest with you, this month has been, not a nice face, it's been a little bit up and down, shall we say. It's been a little bit tricky. First and foremost, I'm absolutely shattered. I'm so shattered, it's ridiculous. That's partly the weather, because we're having these kind of stuffy, humid days. And personally, I find that incredibly enervating and draining. So, for instance, a job that may take an hour, it's taking me 3 hours because I'm so sluggish because of the heat. So the weather hasn't helped. Having said that, the weather has been gorgeous as well. It's lovely weather for sitting around and chatting with friends and just catching a breeze and what have you, which is what we did on the Royal Wedding Day down at my allotment site. We had a lovely picnic, all of us just sitting around chatting. It was gorgeous, enjoying the sunshine, enjoying the birds, beautiful. But for work, not so much. Now, one of the big reasons this month has been difficult is, and I don't know what's going on, but the garden is not, it's just not going right. Oh, I'm about to get, that kind of caught me then a little bit. I feel a bit emotional. So I'll go into more detail with this when I do the garden tour in a couple of days for the beginning of June. But it just seems this year that everything is a struggle. It's a struggle to get seeds to come up. If they come up, it's a struggle to get them to grow. if they grow and I manage to get them to the garden, they're being eaten by slugs. Things are just curling up and dying in the heat, and compared with previous years around this time, I know the weather's been a bit hinky this year, but even so, sort of averaging things out, the garden's really bare, and where I would normally have, well, where I'd normally have things growing, there's nothing. And also thinking ahead to winter, so that's a lot to do with the summer garden, thinking ahead to winter, all the stuff I would normally grow for winter, at the moment, no show. So I've been putting in hours and hours and hours in the garden over the last few weeks, just trying to, you know, get some food to grow. And in the last few days, for the first time ever in having my garden, I've just thought, you know what, it's not worth it. It's not worth it, and now I am going to get really weepy. It just seems like an extraordinary amount of work for, it feels like at the moment, no reward. It just feels like I'm going to have so little food out of the garden this year. I've been given some spare tomato plants from some of the girls on site, which is brilliant, so I should have some tomatoes, but going by previous years in terms of number of plants I have to produce, you know, X many pounds of veg, and knowing how they'll last through the year through storing them either frozen, dried or what have you, I just don't see that it's going to be enough. So if I'm putting in all this effort and all this work into the garden and it's not coming back, the dilemma in my head has been in the last few weeks, work on something else, Vivi. You know, work on the sewing, because then you can sell stuff and you can use the money to buy food. Simple. But I just don't want to give up. I just don't want to give up. But I'm also trying to be sensible, because, you know, there's no point flogging a dead horse. And that's what the garden feels like a bit at the moment. I still love it. I still love it so much, and so many really precious, beautiful moments there. I'm suddenly inarticulate, but yeah, it's an oasis, it's a joy, it's my sanctuary, it's beautiful. It's just the pressure's on more than ever for it to produce, and, you know, going by other years when there was no pressure on the garden to produce, and it produced, and now that I really need it, I don't know, maybe it'll all come good. Maybe in another month's time I'll be sitting here and going, yay, everything's suddenly growing. We'll see. So yes, that's one of the reasons I thought, actually, I will carry on doing my little reflections at the end of each month, because, you know, month after month, it is going to be different each month. It is going to be different from last year, because apart from anything, the garden is going to be different, as we've seen. One of the really good things that I am reflecting on at the moment is, despite all the and the stress and the worry with the garden, and honestly, I feel so overwhelmed with work at the moment. My hours are crazy. And sorry, just with reference to the shop, I'm so sorry. I think it was actually probably really crazy of me to suggest that I could get it open at the beginning of May. Because if you think about the garden, April and May are two of the busiest months in the year, followed by September and October when the harvests hopefully come in. But it's such a ridiculously busy time in the garden, especially now that all my joints are so rubbish, everything takes longer. So I'm really sorry that there are loads of you out there who've shown so much interest. Thank you so much. And I haven't produced, and I'm really, really sorry for that. The plan now is, hopefully, over the next few days, I'll finish planting and sowing in the garden, and then I can turn my attention fully to the shop. And what I plan to do to start with is just open it selling the bunting. Need to make more. And then as and when I've got a bit of time, I'll start adding the other things. So there's going to be all sorts in there, like really beautiful linens for your table settings, teapots, milk jugs, vases, what else? Baskets. I'm looking at piles and piles of it there, waiting for me to clean and do little repairs on and things. Books, lots of really lovely gardening books, a real mixture, but it's all, if you looked at it, you'd say, oh, that's typical Vivi. It's so my taste. So it's a little bit vintagey looking, a little bit kind of old-fashioned country, picnic tables. You get the idea. It's been a huge effort to this point with photographing everything and getting everything weighed and measured and described, but bear with me, it will happen. It's just going to happen more gradually. So I'll get the bunting sorted first, and then all the other stuff I'll gradually introduce. And then the idea is that about once a month or so, every month, I'll just put the new stock into the shop. So once a month or so, if you haven't had a little browse in the shop for a while, you can have a look in and see what's arrived, what's new. It's all old, so when I say what's new, it's new old stuff. So that's a really positive thing, and like I say, I think that's been one of the difficulties this month as well, is that it's around the corner of my eye. I've got the tennis on in the corner. I'm so sorry. Yeah, one of the difficult things this month is all those hours I was spending in the garden. I was thinking I should be doing the shop, but of course if I do the shop, then I won't have any plants in the garden, so I won't have any food. And you can now see my huge dilemma. It's like where to put my time. I'm putting it all into the garden. And now I'm thinking maybe I shouldn't have, because that's not working at the moment. Maybe I should have anyway. Anyway. Definitely 1 year on from stopping work, or a year and a bit on, I'm definitely happier in life. Definitely more relaxed despite all these stresses. There's been a lot of little dots here and there of negativity, which I've gradually managed to lose. You know, I was thinking about work the other day, and there was one person in particular at work, and we've all had them, I know, but this one person who was particularly negative and could be quite bitchy and nasty and gossipy, just used to tell absolute porcupines about other people, and people would start to believe it, and then the rumour mongering would start, and before you know it, people have fallen out based on something this nasty girl had said that was completely untrue. And I'm realising now what a weight has gone from me by having gotten rid of that influence in my life. And there've been a couple of other things like that that are gradually going. And it feels really good to just live each day on my terms in the way that I want to. And my terms are: be positive, be optimistic, be kind to each other, help people, build people up, don't knock people down. I don't understand this knocking people down. And every now and again, the nature of social media, I love it. I absolutely love it. Social media means I can stay in touch with friends who are miles away. It means I can share time with you guys, and you guys feedback as well. And there's such a feeling of positivity generated. But every now and again, you know, people do use social media as a platform for just nastiness and lies. And I think one of the things I've learnt over these last few months, especially because my life has become quite a lot of social media, is you just have to ignore it. Absolutely. It's like when I was an actress, I remember a director saying to me once, I got a review which it wasn't bad, but it was just a bit nondescript, and it really upset me. But I'd had a plethora of other reviews which were gorgeous and fantastic. And I always remember that director saying to me, or kind of warning me against dwelling on the bad reviews. If there's some constructive criticism in there, brilliant, take it on board, see if you can use it. But so often, when someone is negative or something is negative, it's not actually constructive, it's not adding anything to your picture. So away with it. Away with the negative stuff. So yes, life's definitely more positive. I still need to work out a bit better balance. I'm still not managing a day off, which is ridiculous, isn't it? I'll get there eventually. And when I get there, when I work out how to get there, I'll let you guys know too, because I know there's quite a few of you who don't manage your day off either. It's crazy doolally, isn't it? So yeah, on a positive side, over this last month, I've had some wonderful time with friends. I've had some wonderful support. I've had the love of other plotters by giving me their spare tomatoes. Despite all the problems in the garden, I still love it, and it really makes me happy just to be there. Things for the shop are happening. I've got a really clear idea now of how I'm going to go forward with it. So there's a lot of positive stuff. Yeah, I'm not going to dwell on the negative, because the garden, it's not so much a negative, it's more of a worry, and it's worth me kind of thinking about but not dwelling on. So I think on that note, I should maybe just dash off to the garden now to put out some more beer traps against the slugs, and that's going to be one less worry on my mind, isn't it? I think that's what I need to do. So for now, I'll say cheerio to you all. Go and grab yourselves a nice cup of tea. Do something lovely with your afternoon. And before you know it, I'll see you back down in the garden, and I'll show you what I mean about the beginning of June. Oh. In the meantime, have fun whatever you're up to. Be lovely to the people around you. Share your bounty with them. Just be nice to people. Take care, everyone.